Hello, everyone. And remember those plants that I propagated or I cut off of the large tomato plants? Well, they've rooted and we're going to plant them. We're going to also plant some marigolds because you should always plant your tomatoes and marigolds together to relieve the bug pressure. Get it right, Jamaica. Let's get to it. Hello, everyone. This is Jamaica with Jamaica Life. I hope you all realize that I changed my name. It is now Jamaica Life. And today's video, like I said outside, is on replanting these tomato cuttings. So what I did about 2 weeks ago was take some tomatoes and cut the stem off. And some of them have some rotten material on there. I'm gonna cut that off and we're gonna pot these up so that they can get the nutrients they deserve. I know they look a little scraggly, but look at those roots. They're viable. So let's get to potting. Well, spring is getting ready to start, you guys. Aren't you excited? I am. I'm excited. I mean, I know the inflection of my voice or the loudness of my voice does not tell you how excited I am about this because, you know, I'm an outdoors person and I enjoy planting stuff and seeing stuff grow. Although I might have some weeds in my garden, it's still a garden and it flourishes. So as long as I'm getting produce and I'm getting what I need from it, I'm happy. Right now I'm just cutting off. Today's video is going to be on all things marigolds and tomatoes because the marigolds, I should have got this. This is from Dollar Tree. The tomatoes need protection and from the pests, and because it has been so warm thus far, it's just February, down here in Texas or in the South, we are going to have high bug pressure. I keep on saying blood pressure. Why? We are going to have high bug pressure because a lot of those insects did not pass away during the freeze. It didn't reduce the bug pressure. So the bug pressure this spring and this summer is going to be higher than it normally is. Unless we get a couple more cold spells, which is very possible. Don't put your stuff out yet. It ain't over. I know I'm in Texas, but it can freeze. It can freeze up until about April. That's what happened last year. We thought it was over and everybody started throwing stuff out there, including me. And woo, I was out there with sheets, blankets, everything. So anyway, back to the tomatoes and the marigolds. So I have a pack from the Dollar Tree marigolds, and I also have some marigolds that I got from the marigolds that I planted last year. I'm just gonna direct sow those. These I'm gonna put in a tray I have right here. But first we're gonna do the tomatoes. So I cut off that part that was not doing so well, and I'm just gonna put this little seedling in here. Now, tomatoes, you can bury them or you can place them deeper than normal plants. You don't have a certain spot because they're little fuzzy things on here, and those will develop roots. I don't want this thing too deep because I want it to get some sun, but I don't mind if I plant it a little bit deeper than it was in the water, just to make sure I cover all the roots. So I have a pail here with some soil, and I'm just gonna cover this thing up. Make sure I cover all the roots that were underneath water. These are going in the greenhouse. They have been in the windowsill for the past couple of weeks, but they're gonna go out into the greenhouse, which is not exactly outside. Just like that, I got one of the 4 planted. Isn't that cute? The thing about doing tomato cuttings, because if you buy seedlings from the big box store, try to get a big one so you can do cuttings. So instead of having 1 or 2 plants, you can have 4 or 5. All right, that's one. And on top of that, the ones that I cut were, some of these are blueberry tomatoes. I only got 20 of those seeds. So I'm cloning it because, you know, I think I had 3 seeds left. And now I have 3 to 4 extra ones. I did take one of the cherry tomatoes, but that's just because it was getting super viney. And this is just soil that I had out in a bucket. I'm not getting any, I'm not spending on any additional money as long as I still have soil available. Now, eventually the soil is going to run out because these, look at that at the bottom. Wet that. These are going to, sometimes you just have to plant it with the soil. You don't knock all the soil off. You're gonna plant some of your soil, so you're gonna lose some soil. So you're gonna eventually have to buy some new, soil from the supermarket or from wherever you get it from. So just know that eventually you're gonna run out of soil. You're gonna have to rebuy it, or you're gonna have to buy supplements to the soil that you have in your beds or anything, or in your planters. I got this out of a planter. My one of my plants did not get rescued quick enough. What was it? Sorrel. Sorrel cannot take cold, so I have to replant it. So this is another one, and I have some bad leaves on here. I'm just gonna pull them off. No sense in letting this plant fight with these leaves that are not any good. So I'm just gonna pull them off. And I'm gonna give it some horticulture molasses so they can be nice and happy again. So that's another one planted. Trying to get it to stand up. Yeah, this definitely needs horticulture molasses. That's two. Let me get another pot. Dump this out. I thought about going live, but I don't know. I'll do it. I'll do it soon. I was on someone else's live, but I need to start doing my own. There we go. Look at that. That one is nice and strong. Now, if one of them passes away, well, that happens. But I'm hoping that all four of them make it, especially the blueberry tomatoes. Especially those. I was so happy to get those. And initially when I tasted the blueberry tomato, I was like, oh my God, it was awful, but it wasn't ripe yet. Once they ripen, they are delicious. Blueberry tomatoes. And they can take heat. That's the good thing about them because they're small. They're not big tomatoes. They're in between cherry tomatoes and spoon tomatoes. They're little. They're little. But I love them. There's a reason why they're called blueberry tomatoes. First of all, they turn purple. And they have this taste that is a slight taste that is not exactly the same as a normal tomato in a good way. So if you get the opportunity to buy some blueberry tomatoes, go ahead and do it. It's a good thing. It's a good thing. Blueberry tomatoes. So I'm gonna pour some of this out so I get this plant in here. I got another one here. The bottom of these, it's good that I got it out because the bottom of these are starting to rot. That's what happens if you leave it in the water too long. Oh, this thing, Dollar Tree. Get what you pay for. All right, so I got that. And I'm gonna fling it out so it gets some dirt. So these roots are not all in one place. They all seem to want to be I'm just gonna leave them like that. I ain't gonna risk ripping off the roots. And this thing is, as I said, the stem, you can bury the stem and the plant, the tomato plant will develop new roots. Not all plants are like that. Only one that I know that does this is tomatoes. It may be other plants. Don't do it to your eggplants. Don't do it to your pepper plants. Tomato plants. That's the one that will develop roots from the side of the stem, anywhere you plant it. So there we go. We got our fourth one in. So we got all four of our tomato plants in there. We have the jar right here. We can put that to the side and use that for tomato. I have put sweet potato slips that I have to propagate, or take off their potato and put in some water. So I'll use that for that. Of course, I'll put new water in there. So that's done. All four of our tomato plants are done. Wonderful. Now, the table's dirty. Table is dirty again. Cleaning this stuff off. And I thought about putting some other flowers in here, but marigolds deter the bugs the most because they're fragrant. And the bugs apparently don't like marigolds that much. So they stay away. And that's what I want them to do. Stay away. So this is French Dwarf Double Mixed Color. And this is from last year. Huh? Doesn't matter. I have a whole bunch of seeds. A whole bunch of seeds from the Dollar Tree. I need to go and get some more flowers from the Dollar Tree because I don't have very much of those. And I'm gonna make a well. Move it over. Make a well. I'm gonna plant these. Marigolds like it out here in this yard. When I was stationed in, where was I? Hawaii, they wouldn't grow for me. The soil, I guess, was too sandy. I lived in a place called Ewa Beach. It's EWA Beach. That's where I used to live. And I couldn't even grow grass. They don't tell you that about islands. You get in the wrong spot where there's a bunch of sand, nothing will grow. You'll be fighting just to keep lawn on there. So, buyer beware. Paradise. It was a paradise. It just couldn't grow nothing on that land. Okay, so I have these seeds on here on the front one. I'm going to bring you closer so you can see what I did, and then we're going to backfill it. Okay, so you see the little white things? That is the tail of the marigold, right? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to slide that soil right back over and cover them up. Okay, then we're going to open this one up, move it over. Move that out of the way. Now there is something that's new with planting marigolds, Jamerica, but we're going to start talking about tomatoes. I have a lot of tomato plants, right? Well, some of them are growing in the ground. I'm spreading these out. Some of them are going into the ground, but some of them I'm going to use the Kratky method. And the reason why I brought him up is because he is in Hawaii. I was watching his videos because I'm interested in hydroponics that you don't have to use electricity for. So we have these on the soil, and I'm just going to slide, just going to backfill it with the back of my hand. Cover them up. And you can see them because they have white tails. See that? So I'm making sure I don't see any white tails. Make sure all of this is covered up. Okay. We got one more tunnel. So the Kratky method, he's from out of Hawaii. I can't do that with this one because it's already buried on that soil. And I don't want to mess up what I've already done. So I'm going to take some of this soil out. And what you do with the Kratky method is you get some 5-gallon buckets, you drill some holes, you get some Epsom salt, and I forget what the stuff I ordered. It's in the garage, and you basically do hydroponics outside, and it doesn't require as much water. Now there's a reason why I'm doing this. Not, first of all, I want to see if it works, how it works. Because I don't like relying on electricity for my stuff to grow, which is why I grow outside, and I try to, to rely as much on nature as possible. I didn't do any raised beds or anything. I don't really like raised beds. I think, it might be a waste of money. If you have good soil, just go ahead. And it's expensive. The main thing is it's expensive. And I've said this before. Raised beds are expensive. And if you don't build them high enough, it's not going to protect you from anything or any animals. Truth is, if the animal wants to get to it, it'll just go up in the bed and dig it up anyway. That's just my opinion, unless you have super high ones, and most people don't. However, back to the Kratky method. So they use your 5-gallon buckets. You put your chemicals in there and put holes in there, and you grow your plants in the 5-gallon buckets, and it uses less water. Main thing in Texas, water. We have water restrictions out here. So hopefully this resolves some of my watering issues, because I'll have some of my tomato plants that require a lot of water in buckets. And I might do it with some other plants also. You could do it with some cucumbers, everything. Anything can be done with the Kratky method. It's it's not aquaponics, hydroponics that does not, this one is not covered, that does not require electricity. Main thing, and uses less water. So we got our marigolds planted, and I'll put some straws in here. I'm not going to put the thing on here. I might put it on the bottom. I have a heating pad over there, and I have some seedlings starting over there. I don't know what this is, but it probably has seeds in it. And that's what I'm going to do. I have some tomato plants on the other side. I have, I don't know, 50, 60 of them on the other side. I plant a lot because I'm not sure of the germination rate, and they die off. The seedlings sometimes are weak and they don't make it. So some of them don't make it, but usually I end up with about 20, 30. And I get a whole bunch of tomatoes. I still have tomatoes from last year. I decided this year that I'm not going to plant, but I use tomatoes a lot, by the way. I use tomatoes a lot. I use bell peppers a lot. I use cucumbers. Still have pickles and relish from last year. So some of the thing in my mind, I thought to myself, wait a minute, Jamerica, what things do you still have from last year? I still have callaloo, still have pickles, I still have relish. What I don't have is the squash. I don't have the cushaw, delicata, butternut, because those are my favorite. Pumpkin. That's what I want to plant. Now, I like cucumbers, so I'm gonna plant some of those, but last year I got a lot of cucumbers. A lot. And I couldn't eat them all, so I fermented them. Now, I don't mind fermenting stuff, because I'll ferment stuff in a minute. Another thing that I want to plant is because I like kimchi. And I don't think I have cabbage out there for growing right now, because I like kimchi and I like sauerkraut. So I want more of that. But however, the ones that I have planted, that's it. I'm not doing it anymore because they'll bolt. They will not grow in the Texas heat. Tomatoes, that's why I did this. And that's why I planted those early. Because the tomatoes, hopefully with this Kratky method, I can save them and I can get some tomatoes in the summertime, because if they're in the ground, they won't die, but all the flowers will fall off. And if you don't have any flowers, you don't get any fruit. So I make sure I plant indeterminate, which means they flower and produce fruit consistently. Determinate tomatoes produce fruit once a year, because tomatoes are perennial, so they'll come back. If you don't let them freeze. Oh, this one is not doing well. If you don't let them freeze, it will they'll come back over and over again. This needs to be replanted. This is not no bueno. If you don't let them freeze, they'll come back year after year. So that is what I'm going to do with the tomatoes. But if you get determinate, you only get fruit once a year. Planting this bad boy deep. You want to give me trouble with tomato? I am going to make you stay alive. I'm going to give you the best chance possible. I'm burying him super deep because he was not standing up straight. Right, baby? I want you here with me. Now I want you to pass over to the other side. We've been through too much together for me to just give up on you now. So as I was saying, I was talking about the Kratky method, and that's why I plant so many tomatoes, and why I plant indeterminate tomatoes, because determinate tomatoes, as I said, produce flowers once a year, and in Texas, it's super hot. I mean, over 100 for a long time. And all the flowers fall off and the tomatoes don't produce any fruit. None of them. All of them stop. The only one that may have produced fruit in the summertime was the teaspoon tomatoes. And the chickens, they're the ones who eat those. So We have our tomato plants, all 4 of them planted. 1, 2, 3, and 4. We have all 4 of them planted. And all of this is recycled. The soil is recycled. The pots are recycled. I don't know what kind of plant was in here, but if I didn't buy it, I got it from the big box store because they throw out the planters if something is not, growing right. They just throw them out. So I have the planters are recycled. The dirt is recycled. The only thing that's new here is this pack of seeds, and that's from last year. But that, I paid 25 cents for that. So reuse your soil, reuse your pots. This tray was also free. I don't know what this was holding, but they're gone, and I'm using the tray because these trays can grow seedlings. Anyway, we got our marigolds planted, and I got a whole pack of marigolds planted, so I have at least 50, 60 marigolds in here. And we have our tomato planted. Yay, more tomatoes. But these, the reason why I did these is because they're the blueberry tomatoes. Yes, yes. Happy, happy, joy, joy. So I'm gonna water these in and we're done here. I'm gonna water all this stuff in. We're all done here and I hope you all learned something. Plant your marigolds and your tomatoes in the same patch to relieve some of the bug pressure. Just a word to the wise. This is Jamerica with Jamerica Life. I thank you guys for being here, and I'll see you on the next one. Yay! Marigolds and tomatoes. Remember that. Remember that. Bye.